It has been 22 hours since Jennifer went missing. But I may have found a trail. We were camping together this week and were taking a hike along a beautiful area of the forest, but she got lost. She had been complaining about an upset stomach and needing to eat something, and for some reason she couldn't stomach the idea of eating any of the provisions we had brought, mostly trail mix and energy bars. Along the trail she had needed to take a break, and I thought since we were over an hour away from camp, and with the upset stomach she might be sick. I gave her a little space and privacy briefly, and she went behind a bush. That was almost an entire day ago. She had just vanished. I have been looking everywhere, and in my efforts to locate her I have diverged so far off of the trail that I think I might also be lost. But I have to keep looking, I have to find her. I am exhausted and my body aches, but I continue walking, searching, and when my dry aching throat can muster the strength, calling out to her to see if there's any response. I feel like I am going in circles, following my own footsteps. What I thought was a trail turned out to be nothing, and worse, I hear the roar of thunder in the distant mountain and know that rain is not too far off. My hopes of finding any trace or trail were evaporating quickly. I had already searched for an entire day with no results, only being forced to stop for a few hours when it was completely dark since I couldn't find my way back to camp. I had no replacements or batteries if my only light source went out and had to use it sparingly. Indeed, I would likely only get more lost if I wandered into the darkness alone. Alone, just like Jennifer was. I suppressed a shudder and felt a deep sadness and fear wash over me, thinking about how she must be feeling. I felt terrible holding off my search for even a minute if she was in trouble. I pictured her smile, her beautiful blue eyes, so full of love. Her auburn hair silhouetted as it often was by the frequent backgrounds of the many scenic forests and places of natural beauty we both loved so much. Why did you have to get lost? Why can't I find you? I thought hopelessly. It was not like her, she was always the survivalist. She camped out here way more than I did. Many times on her own, she would always say she liked to challenge herself. And that sometimes when I asked to come she would explicitly state that she needs to do this alone. Just then I see something that snaps me out of my reverie. It is on the ground near a path I swear I had been down already. It is a brownish-red stain on the dirt. I bend down to inspect it closer and touch the reddish soil. It is wet and smells coppery. This appears to be a small trace of someone or something's blood. I can't tell if it is human or not, but panic starts to simmer in my chest as I consider it might be Jennifer's. She might be hurt. I try to steady myself and focus on the blood, and sure enough it looks like, yes, there it is, a small trail it continues down. Despair, anxiety and hope combine to put me into a nervous frenzy as I rush to scrutinize every detail of the trail and follow it as closely as I can. I almost lose it when it seems to go on several yards with no trace, but I pick it up again and move as fast as I can. My heart sinks when I find the source of the blood. The bloody trail terminates in the ravaged carcass of a deer. Something had injured it and chased it a good distance before ripping it apart. The scene was particularly barbaric and seemed excessive for any type of predator in this forest that I knew of. Unless there was a grizzly bear with rabies, I couldn't think of anything that would cause this kind of destructive mess, and any potential prospect terrified me as I thought about whatever had caused this, still lurking in the trees or worse, stalking Jennifer as well. I push the morbid thought aside and press on. I walk through the clearing with the deer carcass and hear the loud scream, or what sounds like some sort of animal dying. It is coming from the way I am heading, and I slow down accordingly and try to hear anything else. I see a small alcove near where the trail leads towards the hills and eventually the mountain pass, and it gives me a general reminder of where I might be. Thankfully I might not be as lost as I thought I was. But this only matters if I can find my way back with Jennifer. I won't leave without her, so I look around for the sound I had heard. I can't find the source immediately, but there in the distance I think I see. Yes, there is something else. On a rock there is another spattering of blood. Nearby there is what appears to be a large clump of hair, and my heart catches in my throat when I examine it, and it is indeed human hair, light auburn hair the same color as Jennifer's. I try to quell my rising panic. I need to find her fast. Who knows what might be after her? I look down and see that fortunately the blood is once again leaving another trail leading out of the clearing and up towards the hills. I follow it and it winds up the hills, almost following the path's serpentine suggestion perfectly, like the Sanguine Trail has its own sentience as it leads to my unknown destination. I am halfway up the hill when the rain begins. I start to run, moving as fast as I can and losing the trail at one point in my haste, since I know it will soon vanish completely, and when I am up the hill and it diverges I will not know where to go. I hear an ear-splitting thunderclap, and shortly afterward I hear a cry of pain and a loud shriek from a person. A woman. Jennifer, it's you, I found you. It must be her. I sprint up the hill as fast as my tired limbs will carry me. I slip and almost fall off the sheer cliffside as I have ascended a good portion now. I manage to pull myself up with my fingers slipping on the wet rock and mud. I run up the hill, each portion of the bloody trail growing fainter and harder to see as it slowly fades away in the rain. I reach the top, and there is a large natural cave up here, the mouth of which seems to glower ominously at me as I pause only for a moment outside. Then I rush inside when I see, as I half expected as soon as I saw the cave, a faint bit of blood near the entrance. Further into the cave I spy a glimmer of light. I can scarcely believe it, but as I cautiously step closer, yes, there is a small campfire in here. It must be her. I say aloud and start rushing forward. The stillness of the cave's ambience is broken by a tortured scream, and now that I am this close I see the source. I freeze in my steps, my mouth hangs open, and I look on in silent terror at the sight before me. Something humanoid sits crouched near the campfire, its hands clutching what appears to be a large dead wolf. There is a wet crunching sound and a sick tearing and sucking noise as it bites, tears, strips and consumes large chunks of meat from the poor animal. The figure is slight and appears to be covered in crude homemade leathers and large portions of various animal bones and pelts. Around the small campfire is a veritable boneyard of stripped animal skeletons, many looking recently flensed. Blood is everywhere coating the walls and the floors, and a small pool in the center leads a gentle incline to funnel it into a morbid river out of the cave mouth and down the hill. To my dawning horror, I look at what is next to the figure and stifle a gasp. It is what appears to be the eviscerated body of a park ranger, the tattered remnants of the uniform still visible among the destroyed body of what remains. I know I am in danger, but I have to see while this thing is distracted. I have to see if Jennifer is here alive or dead. I must know. I summon my courage and step forward carefully and quietly. I see several parts of human bones and some still intact but largely eaten bodies. None of them looked like Jennifer's. Then I make a mistake and miss a brittle bone on the floor, and it loudly crunches under my boot. The figure looks over and drops its meal and stands upright. It slowly turns to regard me, and when I look upon its face I fall to my knees. Horror and joy mix to form a confusing turmoil of emotion in me. All I can do is stare dumbly at that face. The beautiful face with loving blue eyes, now contorted in feral concentration. The soft auburn hair, now matted in blood. Even saturated in blood and viscera and wearing fragments of animals and humans, I knew it was her. I couldn't speak, so Jennifer spoke to me. I am sorry, you were not supposed to find me. I told you I needed to do this alone like I always do, but you insisted, so I tried to sneak away. I am just so hungry I need to eat. I can't control it. I needed you to stay away. She steps towards me and licks her lips. I can hear the blood coursing through your veins. I can taste it on the air. She takes another step. I can hear your muscles tensed in your body as they are. Call out to me to be savored. She pauses a brief moment and holds her hand to her chest, looking sad. I am so sorry. I will miss our walks together. She gnashes her teeth and flexes her arms out almost involuntarily and pauses one final time. I will never forget you. I love you too, is all I have time to say. I run madly back down the bloody trail, back down the hill and into the madness and solitude of the forest we loved together and shared together. I am leaving her behind. I never thought I could. The feral scream compels me faster. I never look back.